Alright. Okay. A minute early. Can you believe it? Great little track. DJ Joe knows what he's doing. It's such good use of silence, you know? Very mature thing to do. Anyway, hi everyone. Hi, why is my camera angled? Weird. It was like... I'm not sure what's happening there. DJ Joe the Goat. Hey, Joey. Harleen Singh. Rolling in first. There you are. This is you. Prêt à manger? Nice. Who do we have here? We have John Gap. Great hearing you during the Tunic run over the weekend. Over the weekend? Oh, you just watched the VOD, I guess? Was cool to see the true ending run. Yeah. Myself and the lead dev of Tunic, Andrew Scholdice, were privileged to join Sunny Muffin and co-commentator May on the Summer Games Done Quick stream last week. And they actually the runner and the staff, and I guess somebody else too. I'm not sure who else it was, but someone had to shift the schedule a bit to make sure that it was still okay for all the runners, like across the entire marathon. But they moved it because it was supposed to have been on the Sunday, and it was that would have put it smack in the middle of family portraits at my wedding. So they were very kind to move it to the Wednesday instead. Otherwise, my wife would not have been so keen to my ducking out of our wedding to do some speedrun commentary. But it was fun in the end. It worked out well. It was cool seeing the true ending run. I also hadn't seen the true ending run in some time, John. I'd seen the any percent run semi recently, but I was kind of actively avoiding the true ending run just so I could be a little more surprised by things, you know? Yeah, always fun though. Always fun. I love taking part in SGDQ. Yes, Undertale, well known for all the shotguns, definitely. Oh man, it's such a dubstep thing, you know? Like, you gotta have the... It's like, no. It's just never... It's never good. Maybe I'm just old, who knows? Just an old curmudgeon. John also loved the shotgun in Undertale. I guess if someone remixes Tunic music and does a dubstep track with this shotgun chick, I guess that's a little more on brand with the gun in the game. Yeah. Okay. Matt Galt, hi. What's up? Natasha, good to see you again. Andrew R. Audio. First time here, Andrew R. I know an Andrew R, but it's not Andrew R who's an audio, to my knowledge. So perhaps it's new friends. Possible. Hello, good audio. Hello, good audio. Oh, it's Brendan. What's up, man? Brendan Wolf. Good to see you. Kaja audio. Kaja, good to see you. Amnesia Sounds. Dreamer's Thistle. Oni Sound Design. Falcon 22345. And Oni is Edoardo. Wonderful. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad. Yeah, someone emailed recently, John, on the Tunic, on the topic of Tunic sound design and music, asking if they can use the monolith scream sound that Dawn Laundry in the chat helped us out with, knocked that one out of the park, asked if they could use it in a song, and I'm like, Thank you for asking. I can't really stop you, you know? It's like a personal project. Who cares? It's fine. There's a great Celeste remix by Lil Tommy J. This is a nice track, though. So nice. Pause. Here it is. This is crazy. Have you watched this before? I feel like perhaps we have. This is nuts. This is the coolest thing that's maybe ever been done, like, fan project-wise. I'm gonna watch this first. This is very short. Don't worry, this is amazing. How cool, right? Hey, Yuso. How's it going? Crazy. Like amazing editing, so much fun. And using all the content in the Fmod project as far as instrumentation is concerned. Super unique. So cool. And just like objectively good music too. It's just it's well produced, you know? Because this could easily just be bad, like bad music, but with all the same attention given to editing and stuff, right? Little bonus, it's actually good. Cool. So hey everyone, we're here to do some demo reel reviews. We're looking at Edoardo del Torre and Harleen Singh. We're both in the chat. I'm thrilled to see. And we're going to be looking at a few things. We're looking at presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. Check this. YOLO. For presentation, we're looking at the website and just general navigation stuff. If there's enough information or not enough information. Too much information. Just generally, if I want to see something further, does that thing exist? That's a big one. Just general branding stuff, whatever. Then on the demo reel, we're looking for things like the flow and the length and the titling and transitions, everything not audio, basically. Then material selection, we're looking at the pieces chosen for the portfolio, for the demo reel, and what those pieces suggest about this person's past work history, their current skill sets, and their future ambitions. For content quality, just simply, is it good? Is this stuff sounding good? If it's not, is there room to improve? Where might you focus your efforts next? That kind of thing. And everyone in the chat, I would encourage you to weigh in. This is very... This is a collaborative exercise, you know, we're all trying to get better together. Myself included. Back to this. So chill. And finally, distinction. Just, are you standing out in some positive way? I can say that for our own job posting, we're a relatively small outfit, you know? We received a lot of applications. A lot. And if you aren't standing out from the crowd in some positive way, you are likely going to blend into the background and just be forgotten, unfortunately. Might sound mean, that's kind of the case. It's not quite enough that you are just good. You need to be better than everyone else. Not to make it competitive. After just saying this is a collaborative exercise. But it really is true. You need to think about, like, is this as good as everyone else? And it comes into things like, well, you know, sure, I didn't have like the snazzy transition between clip 1 and clip 2 and clip 3 and clip 4 in my demo reel, but they're all awesome, right? Yeah, But the person with the snazzy transition between clip 1, 2, 3, and 4 in their demo reel, their demo's also awesome. And now they have 1 + 1 on you, you know? So this is the gist. You're just trying to have as many pluses as possible and hope that you have more pluses than the next person over. That's the idea. That's how you get a leg up, right? And there's a lot of work out there, so this can be both competitive and collaborative simultaneously. It's okay. No worries. Especially with this just sentimental backing track. We're all friends here, right? All right. All right. Tony, our fearless game audio Slack leader. Congrats on your promotion, buddy. I'm glad someone stepped up, right? Yeah. I actually am thrilled and relieved someone stepped up, and that someone is actually a great person, so cheers. Otherwise, it'd just be shut down. They'd be like, well, we'll try and land somewhere, I guess, and hope most people are still there, hopefully. We'll see what happens. But anyways, shall we get started? We'll stop this track very unceremoniously and move into Harleen Singh. I saw Harleen's stuff first in the chat, so let's zoom in a bit. Zoomed. Is this saying something? Or just hanging out? It seems like it's saying something. It's all transients, though. Or is this all bass? It's not transients, Kev. What are you doing? It's not like a wave scrolling across. It's just a spectrum. It's very bassy. Who knows? Who knows? We have a vertical page, looks like. It would seem. Home, bio. Yep. Portfolio. Blog. All right. Place your bets. When is the last, or what? How recently was the last blog post posted? I'm gonna guess. I'm feeling good. There's a lot of things here. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go with like May. Scott, the idea guy, is this a music portfolio review? Kind of. We're looking at game audio demo reels. So yes, we're reviewing portfolios, sure. We don't focus on music too much on the stream. It's usually on the sound design side of things, but music does weigh in here and there. So it's partially. Music certainly being a massive part of the game audio sphere, of course. We're all about kind of soundscape stuff, sound design, supporting music, cooperating with music, that kind of thing. It does weigh in here and there. June 21st, July 6th, June ... Everyone's too afraid to guess. I know, it's scary. Where are you going with here? 2 days ago. It's not bad. Not bad. So close, Joey. So close without going over. So close. It depends on which way you look at it without going over. It could be like going back in time. So you're the closest without going over back in time. There you go. Cool. Object-based audio in Wise and setting up Windows 11 for object-based audio. Cool. Let's go back home. Or free stuff? I'm intrigued. Hey, good job of making it to this page. The free stuff, just an accolade. You can find some fun IRs and samples I've recorded here. They are free to download, and you are welcome to use them for your projects if you like. IRs are always useful, for sure. Innocent? Railway tunnel? Not guilty. Salisbury Church, St. Mary's Church, Reed Concert Hall, ECA. Cool. This is so beyond my skill set. Like, I would have no idea how to record an IR. I would need to do some research and some consulting with people probably like you. I'd need to consult with you, Harleen. Otherwise, I'd have no idea. It's just not in my background at all. Home. Oh, yes, music also. Music for Burley here. RE Voyage is my multi-genre music project. My tracks have been featured by major music publications like Resident Advisor, Wild City, Rock Street Journal, and Bangin' Beats. All right. Great. Back home. You're hired. The blog is the tiebreaker. So recent, right? There you go. Burley says, do you recommend VFS's sound design program? Oh, sorry, it's Scott, the one in music, not Burley. Do I recommend VFS? I mean, I can't recommend it firsthand. I didn't go there. My co-founder did, and I think had a decent time with it. I think Joey went there also. Joey in the chat, Don Laundry, would be better suited to answering that question than I am, I think. But I've heard good things. I'll put it at that. Okay, bio-wise. Hello there. I am a game sound designer and audio programmer currently pursuing a Master Sciences, MSc, degree in sound design at the University of Edinburgh. The question was, Joey, do you recommend VFS's sound design program? I have spent my time here diving deep into exploring audio through different lenses. As a class representative, I had the opportunity to co-organize this year's edition of the Future Flavors of Sound Festival, where I hosted the game audio stream and I helped with the smooth functioning of the festival. Great. That's awesome. Beyond the university work, I have been a part of multiple projects, including game jams, an interactive audio exhibition funded by the Institute of Physics UK, and a new game by Plot Armor Studios. Release date to be announced. Recently, I got selected to work on a game funded by the UK government that will be showcased at EGX in London later this year. Great. When I am not working on audio, I like to cook various Southeast Asian cuisines and nerd out about different styles of scotch and coffee. Really? Scotch guy. I will be wrapping up my degree and all current projects by the end of September, and I'm looking for a full-time role in a game studio starting in October. That's cool. It's like a timed thing. Good stuff. Small anecdote about my own history. So my first job, I called them 6 months before my program ended. My current, I was in like a generalist audio engineering private school thing in Vancouver, yeah. And I said, hey, listen, I want to work there in 6 months, so how do I make that happen? What steps must I take, kind of thing? And they gave me some ideas, but were kind of vague, but whatever. I did some of the things that they said. I called again in 3 months and said, hey, I'm done in 3 months. So how are we looking? And they were like, okay, yeah, we know who you are. Thanks. We're still here. I guess, good luck in your schooling. Have a good time. And then I called them with 2 months left, and then with 1 month left, and then with 2 weeks left, and then with 3 days. And they said, fine, come on over here. We'll do an interview. And then I said, we had the interview, it went well. And they said, yeah, we might give you a call later this week if we need you, kind of thing. And they called me the day after my final exam, and they said, okay, come on in. So that was it. So it was definitely bold and maybe dangerous, and it was maybe too persistent. So it's a fine balance there. But I think showing like, hey, I'm done like this month, and I'm looking for work on that month, just shows really clear goals. And I like seeing that personally. That's great. It also helps teams plan around you potentially. This shows that you're very goal oriented and stuff. It's awesome. It's a very like implicit thing, but it's not very common to see. I like it a lot. Let's see here. So Joey's saying, if the VFS program is the same one you did 10 years ago, then yes. Especially if you love sound and know nothing about how game audio works. There you go. Yeah, VFS has a lot of... There just are a lot of VFS people in the industry, it would seem. So Unity, UE4, Wise, audio programming, C++, Maximus, P, C#, Reaper, Ableton Live, RX. Okay, great. How's your UE5 looking? I'm in there now. I'm having a good time, learning all the time. Likes AAA things on the whole, except for Limbo. Limbo's the outlier here. I guess Quantum Break's kind of smaller too-ish. Okay, great. Let's go back over to... Well, let's just glance at the portfolio first. We have Unreal and Wise, Natural Selection. Okay, great. Cool. Bluebeard. Okay. Stealth Puzzler, working title. Cell Shocked. Audio redesigns. A lot of things. Hover it. These are 3 ambisonic sound designs I made based on texts from the song Space Oddity. Huh. Audio programming. A lot of things here, my friend. This is getting into Josh Adam Bell territory. My goodness. Let's go full screen and listen to a reel, shall we? Crank this back up. Turn off the sidechain. And 120. It's a little longer than we're used to seeing, but we'll see how we do. I have high hopes that you're going to knock our socks off. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1, and. That was an adventure. Joey says, "Holy yes." That was an assault on our senses, huh? I gotta recover for a second here. That was a lot. For some reason, that's what I was expecting. I don't know what it is, Harleen. I was just after reading your stuff, and you seem like an intense individual as far as your work and your presentation here. It looks good. Like the background, like everything is pretty well presented, you know? So that's why I was looking forward to hearing that and thinking it was probably going to be okay to be 120, you know? It's strange how you can get that sense sometimes. Sidechain on. Mid-reel, you may have seen me chuckle a bit because I was back here watching, right? And then around, was it here? Yeah, around here, I was like, oh, sorry to all the viewers at home. I left the mouse on the screen. I tried to move the cursor, but it's not my cursor. It's all right. Also, there's 2 L's in stealth here. Heads up. I noticed that as well first time through. Okay. Let's talk about this thing. This is crazy. Crazy real. Nice work. Presentation first. Natasha says, that did not feel like 120. Tony says, claps held the 120. Yeah, I didn't mind watching the whole thing. It's true. And that's not common. It's not common that anything over a minute needs to be over a minute, you know? Like, we could have been fine without it, but it's all right. You had some good stuff to show here. The reason that it's not usually worth being more than a minute is because if you're at the point in your career where you need a demo reel, that is, you aren't actively working, you aren't actively being hired or referred or whatever, you aren't established. Or should I say, the more established you are in the industry, the less you need a reel because people just get hired. Like, we don't have a reel, right? PowerUp hasn't had a reel for like 8+ years. It's been a long time. So, but the thing is, we just have a client base that we work with over and over again, and we have other people we work with due to referrals, so we don't really need the reel. But if you're starting out, you of course need a reel because you need to show people what you can do, right? So if you're at that point, you probably are also not super experienced yet. So therefore, you probably don't have enough content or enough interesting content or worthwhile, valuable content to show that would justify being more than a minute long. You see the balance here? So if you have a reel and it's like 5 minutes long and it's awesome, it's probably because you're established and don't need a reel as much, but you just want to have it, you want to like land a higher up job or something, who knows? It's not very common is the point. But this is great, super cool. Let's have a look just presentation wise only, okay? So first up, nice intro. That's really also, this static is so tasteful and people fuck that up all the time. But this is like, that's really, really inoffensive static and it's great. Nice work. It's all kind of like lower frequency. People have like the stuff all the time and it's just like they go white noise, right? But white noise is pretty offensive to hear. And this is where you want to hang out, right here. That is great. Excellent. The same thing goes here too. This is a pretty bold opening clip. It's so abstract, but again, I've seen plenty of kind of abstract, glitchy, white canvas style design pieces, and they can get pretty abrasive. You know, absolutely, of course. There's hard cuts, hard visuals. They try to like go hard with the distortion and stuff too, but especially like the numbers here was so cool. Just this mix of and like unintelligible stuff with more intelligible is super cool. But back to presentation. So Apex Legends, here they are. I mean, the titling is fine. I think the titling presentation is the weakest part of this reel, which is so strange. It's just really basic and whatever. This style here being the exact same weight of both lines. It's like such a nitpick, but you know, it's why we're here, right? This here being the same looking text as the thing below it makes it harder to glance at and see right away. That said, there isn't much text there, so it's probably fine, you know? Just consideration. Could be one additional, just polished up piece if you could do it, right? Same thing goes here, CI Games. Stealth Puzzler, Plot Armor Studios. Yeah, like this here is now 3 lines, all the same weighting. So you can see this just looks, like this looks objectively worse than, say, I mentioned earlier, we go anywhere in this video, and we have this instead. This just looks better. You know, you have the bolder here with a slight bold on sound redesign, the lighter text for the developer. It's like there's a little more consideration than this one, right? But it's such a nitpick. Kevin, move on. Next thing. Also, you do fade it out entirely. And oh my god, spacebar keeps... It doesn't pause. It actually exits full screen. I wouldn't remove the text entirely. Harleen is one thing. Just leave it. Do the Svi Sherman thing, right? Where you have it drops off to like to like there, and then leave it at that opacity for the rest of the video. You know, so you have that here instead. It's a good move. I like this. It's like pretty vaguely presented, but it's effective. It just shows, hey, I'm in there doing the work, and look at this cool thing I did. And it's not even important that I understand what this means at first glance, because I can safely assume that you have another video on this in which you will describe to us what this means and what you did and et cetera, right? I don't know for sure, but I saw some videos there and I kind of assume you've done that because this is really well made. So I feel like you would have done that. So we'll see. Okay, and the finish is too scary. Gonna have nightmares. Scary eye. Okay, and then the smash, and we're out. Okay, let's talk about transitions too, because they're pretty cool. We have this staticky intro into the glitchy section. It's a great transition just stylistically. And then we have Apex into... Great transition. Super cool. I mean, it's just black to a shot, but the audio is it's almost like a J cut, right? You have the audio before into the thing. Yeah, cool. And then next clip is into here. This one's kind of interesting because it's like I like how it's got this continuity in the soundscape. You know, we have the same ambience kind of ambience. Kind of. It's like you're fading in the next clip on the hit. Yeah, we even hear the drips, I think. So it's like this is interesting because you've kind of achieved this feel of continuity, even though these clips have like nothing to do with each other. I've certainly given criticism in the past when you have clip A and clip B, and it looks like you just had two clips and went like this, and it's like, all right, and we're done, with no consideration for what that visual transition looks like. But this is like a pretty egregious J cut. It starts fading in so early. It's like a few seconds of ambience. So, I mean, it made for a smooth transition, so nice work. The hard cut on the visual too, no crossfade, like it somehow works. Nice. And then here, it's like walking to walking. You know, it's kind of similar. It's like, it's so crazy, Harleen. The sound design is so nuts. So it's like good. It's kind of good, and in some ways not as good too, because I'd like to hear what subtlety sounds like in your ears, because right now this is like balls out intense throughout, you know? In terms of trailer design, this is excellent, because it held us for 120. We're all in. We're drawn in, right? It's no secret. It's no accident that kind of thing draws in the listener. That's why cinematic sound design is the way that it is, right? That's the point. So it's a fun watch, but I don't know that it's entirely informative. You know? Like this here, this sound, like the so forth. Like, is that going to play every time you do this in the game? It's so big. So I'm imagining, like, if you have sounds that are that big all the time in a game like this, that's a bold audio direction decision, you know? And can you know, like in this case, does it know that that's happening before, like right now when this starts, like now, had the attack begun, or is it like right here, or is it starting like here actually? You know? Hard to say. But in here, I mean, I'm assuming all this is implemented audio, right? So we have the same cinematic approach to this. Right there. You know? You know, I mean, it's funny because I was waiting for it. I was curious if we had this this being an implementation demonstration, if you're still going to have the same like cinematic stuff in there, right? Let's go back here too. It's funny we're talking about like the content in a way already, because it's so integral to how it's presented. Like the way you've designed it is like it is the presentation, right? But anyway, let's talk about this in a second. So on the whole, yeah, held our attention. We're kind of talking about material selection a bit too. Like Brennan was saying in the chat, Hello Good Audio was saying, my only concern as an audio director may want to see more subtle elements and lower intensity moments. Yeah, because if you're looking to get hired in like a AAA capacity, it's unlikely that you'd be making these like, you know, big decisions of we're doing this cinematic direction. I've got a spotlight on me all the time in terms of like this trailer sound style in games. It's more likely that you will be doing, you know, some small part of a very large game. That makes sense? And that small part will not be you slamming out cinematic hits and builds and stutter effects and stuff. So this shows you have a very keen eye for what holds attention, and you have a great sense of telling a story over time. So these are excellent qualities. It's very good. But I agree with Brennan. It may be that this is like, it's so far, like the pendulum swung so far in that direction that I don't even have a sense of what a Last of Us, you know, you mentioned Last of Us Part 2 in your bio, right? As far as it being a game you like a Last of Us Part 2 Foley suite. Like, what's that sound like? You know, when protagonist is walking forwards quietly, stealthily in some grass. Like, what does that sound like when you're at the helm? I have no idea. I'm confident it's probably going to be okay, but this demo is so crazy that it's hard to know, you know? So anyway, let's go in here. The thing is, you would likely get like a sound test or something, so that kind of question can be answered later. So this is not to say this is a failing. It just might be a question that's left to be answered, you know? Let's watch... I mean, this is very AAA across the board. You're doing the programming and implementation and stuff. It's great. This answers a lot of questions they may have before they began watching the video. So excellent. Content. Let's go. Oh my God, press play, please. Play. The space bar is the play. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. My only stop blaming tools. What? my only thought through here is that if we mute this for a second and watch it again and think of it in terms of change over time, you know? Long-ish, short, long, short, long, like mid, and it's like short at the very end, right? So you have this at the very end of it, that goes to black, and then back into the long shot again, right? So we have like a mixture of like long and short and like mid stuff, but on average, I think it's safe to say that we are ramping in frequency of clips towards the finish line, right? And you have these great changes in sonic palette that are pretty inoffensive, but also like they're just enough, kind of like pulling you around a little bit. You know, I love using that as a metaphor for kind of what our job is in sound design, is to, you know, grab the viewer by the scruff of the neck or by their shirt and say like, okay, now look at that, now look at that. Now look at this, right? Listen to that. And the more, the bigger your transients, the crazier your changes from moment to moment, the more aggressive you're pulling them around, right? And they can take some of that for a while, but if you pull too hard for too long, they're gonna get exhausted and like, you know, pass out or something. So you got to be careful of like when you're kind of picking your battles and like how aggressively you're yanking them around, right? So, but that said, I think that in this case, I don't think you're yanking hard enough towards the very end. This is my opinion. I think what you've done sounds really cool, just objectively. But if you were to, if Power Up were doing this project and you said, hey, Kevin, I'm done, what do you think? Then my feedback would be thus. It would be that I think towards the end, around here, no, it's here, I think, you change to a different like kind of background, and that background stays for a long time despite the visuals changing drastically, you know? So, and then as well, the very end, I think could be a great, like very, very, very active moment to drop off. Because visually, that's how it's designed, right? So we'll play, I'll crank it again and we'll listen. Because all that so far is very one-to-one. Like the base, like the foundation of your soundscape is changing pretty accurately with like when the clips change visually. But then here, that part stays for a long time. The is, we can, you know, there's some storytelling there, some implication that this is in fact at the same place, same moment or something. Despite being two clips, same moment, sure. And then here, it changes again. But that is there for quite a long time. There's a as well. It's like sweeping over the changes happening visually. So you have this kind of like blurring of the clips from moment to moment, even though earlier you established that we are changing the sound from clip to clip. But now the sound is like it's crossing over, right? It's like it's persisting across these clips. So you kind of broke this rule, or you're kind of breaking a rule you've established previously. And I think that it serves to weaken the finish line of increasing in frequency of change, you know? Because it feels like you're falling off. Right? It kind of fades out at the end. But I think you could probably ramp. I mean, my inclination would be to ramp towards that with the increasing intensity and aggression of the visuals. And stop. And then from there you can build back up again, right? So drop to nothing, build back up. I think that feels a little more one-to-one with like supporting what's happening visually. Because again, what you've designed just aurally sounds cool. You know, no one's denying that. It's a matter of, is there room to further support what's happening visually? And I just like the beginning of what you've done here more than the end. Or more than the end of like the kind of glitchy sequence at least. This part onwards is super cool.
6, 5,
love this. It's so cool. Yeah, I love all the rest of it. Just that one's, it's like, it's so nitpicky, right? But I mean, that was what I thought the very first time watching through. I was surprised you didn't ramp there and drop to nothing, but yeah, it's your call in the end. It's totally your call, right? But just creatively, that's kind of what I was thinking. So into Sniper Ghost Warrior. Oh, and hey, Tic Tac Foe. Thank you for rating with some folks who may or may not know what the hell we're talking about here with game audio. Welcome on in. Yeah, like, fine. You know, here's a storyline of a bullet flying. It's cool. It's not easy to do an unchanging clip like this, the bullet flying. Nothing's really happening visually, you know? It's like, whew, very nice. Yeah, cool. Cool. just like cinematic design, right? That's all it is. So this is so crazy also. I can't... Your style is so aggressive, Harleen. And this hit... it's so big. Right? What if every game was a trailer? But the thing, it's a stealth puzzler, right? It's a stealth puzzler. And these sounds are so not stealthy. Like, everyone in the town knows this is happening. You know? Everyone outside this castle is, like, well aware that something's going down. The door... It's massive. Massive. So that's what I'm saying, is that this... What I was saying earlier, and what Brendan was saying too, that a given recruiting team, individual audio director, whomever, they might be like, oh, but what does Harleen sound like doing something subtly, like with more subtlety? Because this is a stealth puzzler. And so this, to me, if someone says, hey, we're designing a stealth puzzler. Yeah, Natasha, I mentioned the double L earlier in the stream. If we're doing if I said, hey, we're doing a stealth puzzler for the audio, what do you think? And if it's a stealth puzzler, right away I'm like, oh, well, there's probably certain expectations and certain conventions and certain directions to take that would probably it would probably support the narrative and the gameplay of a stealth game, right? And it's not as an arrow flies by. So I'm not saying this is wrong, but it just isn't giving us new information, if that makes sense. Because I know you can do this. We've already heard tons of amazing cinematic content elsewhere in this video. Just like this is kind of the same still. That it's still very positive. You're showing Unity and Wise stuff. It's implemented. It's awesome. Really, really good. The extra L is for loud stealth. Yeah, thanks, Tony. Like, what is even happening in the soundscape in this moment? Are we hearing Quantum Break in this part? Because I'll say, the first time I watched this through, it was like this poof happened. It's a stealth game again, right? Just something subtle and for feedback. And then, what the hell is that? I don't know. So it's just like there is so little that's quiet in this reel, you know? Is the trap in the game? What trap? Oh, okay, fair enough. So the trap shoots arrows. Wait, what? So, okay, but realize visually we're not seeing anything, right? So that's, I think, where my confusion is coming from. Is this visually I see a door open, and this says to me that, I mean, my assumption, having played games before, my assumption is that we just solved a puzzle, and through this door is the next part of the game or something, right? So this is, yeah, that was my assumption here. Is that this thing got hit, door opened, Zelda switch, exactly, John, yeah. So at this point, this is usually like the calm after the storm, where you do all the things. It's like, hey, you did it, good job, and you walk to the ending in like quiet, self-congratulations. I did it, right? It's just again, if we mute this video, Harleen, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm like critiquing you so hard. It's not. It's like this. It's just funny because it sounds so good. It's designed very well, but visually, like, look what's happening here, right? Thing happens, door opens, and then poof, and nothing else happens. You walk towards the end, right? So this is it's just so much happening aurally for basically no action, right? Hence my confusion. But it serves as a great transition into Quantum Break, so there is that. If it was just like a quiet moment into this big blast, that might be too crazy, right? Too jarring. Right there is like the only, or one of the only quiet moments in the video, right? And this right here is such a respite. It's so nice to have a brief kind of backing off of the aural assault you are laying upon us. That's very nice. And then back into this again, right? It's like a half a second, 1 second maybe. And there's some, okay, I stand corrected, there is some Foley there at the very end. It's a bit, but it's like a second, 2 seconds, right? So it's hard to draw any conclusions from that. Yeah, so Tony says, if you highlight a whole page, nothing stands out. That is a pretty good piece of feedback for this reel, I think. But the thing is, it's not like this is the only piece of media you have to show. So we've already seen the end of this. We're happy with that. My inclination would be to say, okay, that was crazy. Now show me some more stuff under a magnifying glass so I can see what the hell it is you're doing here. So spatial audio setup. We have your awesome aesthetic.
I'm Harleen, and this is part 1 of the spatial audio setup for my project Natural Selection. This project aims to explore various spatial audio features in Wise and Unreal Engine 4 and their creative use. For Natural Selection, I wanted to explore Audio Kinetics Reflect. This is a geometry-informed plugin that renders reflections in real time based on the distance between the emitter and the reflective surfaces. I found this very interesting and ended up using this in conjunction with convolution reverb. In Wise, I set up Reflect as an auxiliary bus and then used aux sends from individual sounds based on my liking. In Unreal, for Reflect to work as desired, I added different acoustic textures to different sides of the rooms. These rooms have different room tones associated with them, and having portals make the whole soundscape truly immersive, as one can hear the diffracted sound, the reverb, and the room tone leaking through them, and having the appropriate acoustic textures attached to it helps tie the whole sound together.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, this is also way outside my personal knowledge base. So I love seeing stuff like this. It's so specific, you know? Damien. 100% Reflect demo. Yeah, there you go. Lost Chocolate Lab is a fan. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, so you're obviously digging in deeper on this stuff. More info. Show me more. Yeah, 1L here, Natasha, see. Back to site. Cool. Cell Shot Game Jam thing. Tech audio demonstrations. God of War and Witcher 3. Not even in the reel. Yeah, okay. Not as strong as your real work. But I do like how I had access to things like the whooshes in here. I can hear them. Woo, woo. They're quiet though. Yeah, it's quiet. Yeah, like pretty strong all around, honestly, Harleen. Pretty good. Just I kind of suspect that the question would be, or the request might be, hey, can you design this thing subtly, please? You know, when you are not designing the thing in the spotlight, what's that sound like? Because right now, like, all your stuff is in the spotlight. Everything happening moment to moment. It's like, right? It's all big. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, I am confident that Harleen can design these. You know, if I say, hey, we're doing a twin stick shooter or twin stick, something rather like Hades or something like that, and we have all these breakable props in the environment, tables and barrels and pots and urns and whatever, all these things, gravestones, and we need some mid subtle feedback for just smacking them and then breaking. What's that sound like with you at the helm? You know, because it can't be every single time, because that's of course going to be insane. So it's not to say you can't do it. You don't have the skills. I just don't know what that sounds like in this very moment, you know? So I don't know exactly how to solve that problem, but I think it might even be, like, I would laugh so hard and be so happy if I watched this reel and was like, okay, my natural inclination is to think to myself, what does subtle sound design sound like from Harleen and Singh? And then down here in your portfolio, you have like subtle sound design exercise. It's just like very quiet UI, like careful, delicate UI sounds and delicate Foley, where it's just like the Last of Us Part 2, like guns cleaning stuff, like various just quiet moments in games, all designed, but not insane. Like that'd be so self-aware and so cool to see that. Okay, Deathloop is subtle. Let's see this. Let's look at Deathloop. Yeah, this is way more subtle. I mean, this is still right. It's still the cinematic pre-life. And do we know that? Does the game know what's happening? Like right there, does the game know you're attacking? That couldn't. I don't think it could happen unless the game knows it's happening, right? Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's more so, but you can go more subtle yet. You know, there's room to go more subtle. So, anyways, I'm gonna move on from that for the time being. I'm really impressed with your work. Super cool. Could be a proximity collider event triggered. Sure. Could you then walk away though? Like, is there a button being pressed to commit the attack? Maybe it like ramps back down or something. I don't know. It's possible, I guess. It's not impossible. It's a cool problem to solve. You want to solve that problem? Yeah, really impressed with your work, Harleen. Really nice. I think that it's obvious that you've got some skills here and some enthusiasm. You're obviously passionate about this stuff, to be learning, reflecting in your own time, to be posting so many pieces, to be designing your reel, obviously as a standalone sound design piece with these J-cuts and stuff. It all looks very good, you know? So really the only thing that I want to see more of is just, what does your subtle, delicate sound design sound like? It's my curiosity. Amnesia, it triggers a shepherd tone loop. There you go, just rising forever until you attack. There you go, make it happen. Pitch it to the sound team. Yeah, really nice. Standing out for sure. Keep it up. I'm sure you'll get snapped up soon by somebody. Good stuff all around. Again, I hope that my critique doesn't come across as like, oh, you're failing, because you're not at all. This is really, really positive. We're just here to talk about kind of, you know, what could be improved. What are the things I'm thinking about, right? Really, really strong. Okay, Edoardo. Shall we? Oh, we have the Wix page thing up top. Not my favorite to see this right away. Make your free site with Wix.com today. It's not, doesn't look as professional and as serious as a site without that. You know, it just looks a little more like you made a free site and don't want to pay the $40 or whatever to invest in your future. Again, not the end of the world. I've seen some great reels on pages like this, but it's just the other thing too is that this thing here serves to make your page look like other pages with this thing also, if that makes sense. So in terms of being distinct and standing out from a crowd, if you have 5 pages and 4 of them are you know, free Wix.com banner laden, and Wix is $300 a year now? Jesus, I take it back. Don't pay it. I will change all my opinions on Wix immediately. $300 a year, that is crazy. Isn't Squarespace like 40? I thought it was so cheap. All right, I take it back. Thank you, Chell. But the point does stand. As far as pages that have this, they will look similar. This is part of it. Anyways. Okay, so perhaps I'm just old and out of touch with what the internet costs. It's possible. We have home, work, and bio, different pages, it seems. Wonderful. Home, we have main reel up top, which is 109, 108. YouTube changed its mind. Game audio reel, sound design, and implementation. Oh, this is this. Okay. All right, fair enough. I expect this to be above, honestly. For like, this is a heading and this is the thing. A heading and this is the thing. Because right now this is equal distant from this and this, or close enough at least. Small thought. Okay, Wise vehicle engine. The Chocolate Lab, just eating it up in here today. So many Wise things. Geez, 280 USD. Holy. All right, so more like 30 a month, rather than a year. Okay, so let's go work next. We got sound. Oh, you're at keywords. Fair enough. And freelance too. And TRX radio. And live broadcast. And music production, mix and master. Great. And bio. I heard the call. Wise. Wise. Yes. Who am I? I am Edoardo del Torre. Torre? I can't roll ER. A sound designer and sound engineer with a focus on game audio. My greatest passion is to give life to imaginary worlds through audio, immersing people in otherwise inaccessible realities. Education. I studied writing and production for a year at CPM in Milan, where I trained in harmony and musical composition. I then obtained a Bachelor of Arts in music production at the SAE Institute of Milan, from which I developed my technical audio knowledge. Skills and software. I'm zooming a bit more here. Skills and software. I have a lot of experience in using DAWs such as Ableton, Reaper, Pro Tools, Logic, Studio One. Synthesizers are an essential tool in my creative arsenal. I make great use of, this is a lot of text, but this is a lot of text so far. But it's, well, this is not too bad. This seems like a lot of text from being divided like this. Is that all it is? Yeah, maybe it's fine. I make great use of wavetable and granular synthesis techniques, which I mainly use to create surreal, sci-fi, or magical sounds. I am also very experienced in processing audio files, primarily through programs like Isotope RX to create glitches or clean audio signals from noises, reverberations, clicks, and unwanted frequencies. I love that too. You know, you just you use tools for things they weren't really maybe intended to be used for. Like you apply some spectral repair with very extreme settings, like a small bit of sound to get a cool glitch sound or whatever. Love it. Super cool. Recording my sounds is an integral part of my creative process because it makes me see and hear the world around me differently, continuously feeding my curiosity and allowing me to deliver a unique and original work. I am good in the use of middleware and some of the most common game dev tools revolving around the implementation of audio within the game environment, such as Wise, Unreal Engine 4, Fmod, Unity. In addition to my audio experience, I also have basic knowledge of coding and scripting languages such as Blueprint, C#. I think my problem with this approach is... Oh, we're still going. Jeez. Okay, one sec. I'll come back to it. Career. In 2019, as soon as I finished SAE, I became an assistant for mixing and mastering at Flavio Morana's The Buildzer Studio, where I had the opportunity to develop my knowledge in this area. During this experience, I also started working as a freelance sound designer, beginning to collaborate with motion design artists on Instagram. Some prominent artists I've worked for are Marius and Ivaris oh my goodness, something. Gaika? At the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, I started working as a sound designer and engineer for TRX Radio, one of Italy's most important web radios. I still collaborate with them and am involved in editing and mixing interviews with the most important protagonists of the Italian and international hip-hop scene. I also deal with the composition of beats, jingles, and opening for the shows. I also took care of shooting and editing videos for a limited period. I work as a content creator for BeatSpot, one of the most important pages of audio tips and tutorials on Instagram. I also take care of audio for live streams for the production house Weave Creative Media, for which I did events for clients such as Ferrari and Deloitte. One thing I just noticed first is you capitalized Instagram here, but not here. That's one thing. Okay, so that was definitely a meal to get through. That was a lot of text. I'm back to my first thought. It was. But it's not just that it was a lot of text. It's that it's very like bullet pointy. You know, we have like this, such as... And then we have this is like one line, and then this is kind of its own thought, and then this is kind of its own thought, and then this is its own thought. So it's not even really a paragraph. It's like we're seeing it stop, back to the front, stop, back to the front, stop. So formatting wise, it's also like a lot of filler words. Like we'll see something like, tools, and then below that, everything. We have Ableton, Reaper, Pro Tools, Logic Studio One, Isotope RX, Wise, UE4, Fmod, Unity, Blueprint, C#, like just whatever, boom, down there. And like all that shit is basically this entire paragraph, right? And it's just like, done. So this is like I am also very experienced in, like this kind of thing, showing you have an interest in doing things a certain way, that's interesting. But like this is an umbrella statement for a single sentence. There's a lot of room for editing here because it feels like I was reading through and not learning new things. It's the whole thing with like writing poetry or writing in general was Edgar Allan Poe is like every word needs to be there for a reason. I'm a big fan of just cutting down on the fat, like trimming the fat wherever you can. Like this here, I am good in the use of middleware and some of those common game dev tools revolving around the implementation of audio. Like there's so many words here just to say, these tools. And the thing is, if someone is on your page reading your bio, they know what these are. So you don't need to explain that these are tools revolving around the implementation of audio in the game environment, This is just extra words to fill space, and you already have a pretty longish bio, So I would encourage you to just cut down, just cut down and make the about more. So Brendan's saying more about you, more personal, totally. Because I know this is like it's very resume. Yeah, totally. I love that. I definitely like seeing, we just finished saying, like on Harleen's, the bio thing, he says that he helped this festival, the Sound Festival. Like, that's great to know. Super cool that you're out there in the community and doing things that are relevant to your work. Super good. Just like it is relevant to be on Instagram doing things, to be on TRX Radio. Like, these are not irrelevant statements, but there's just room to dial things in a bit, like with the most important and one of the most important, it's just like there's a lot of additional words that don't need to be there. And I think you could for sure pull it back, pull it back. Because the content's not bad. You're obviously very active and stuff. It's just a matter of getting through. It felt like a bit of a challenge to get through the whole thing, you know, which is not a great feeling to have from a bio. Let's go to your home though. Let's watch your reel. I'm looking forward to it. You're working, so I'm sure this will be a good time. Let's go full screen and sidechain off. Let's go. Wow, Ori. Hard cut. All right. Hardchick. How you doing, pal? Good to see you again. Some Real Talk alumni in here. Let's, okay, so this is interesting, because I think, well, let's go through the bullet points here, yeah? So we'll start with our presentation down below. Let's talk about presentation. It starts off, we're just in the thick of it right away. There's no title card at all. It's not the end of the world, but it's not as common. I think, in my personal opinion and experience, I definitely appreciate the title card in terms of something to prime me for watching the rest of the video. It's a good storytelling element in general. And right here, you have no idea what I was listening to before this. It's silence. It's like just right away, you have this rain, hard cut starting in, no fade, right? Or is it rain, just wind? Just ambience, whatever that is. So there's no way to... I mean, that's the benefit of having a splash, like a bookend, right? To start the whole thing off, is you can serve to be the palate cleanser for your audience. I mean, again, like Harleen did a great job with this thing, right? You have this intro, and we start from silence, comes in, right? And back to silence again. So we have this up and down, and now let's go. So this is not to compare you against Harleen, but in terms of just the concept of a splash image or a splash like bookend for your name, it's certainly worthwhile, I think. Okay, so then titling wise, this is pretty low down here, right? This text. Recommend putting it, bottom third. They're called lower thirds because they exist on the lower third of the screen. And similar note in terms of like the weighting on your titles. You've got this and this. Can't hurt to have different weights for what the thing is. Also can't hurt to see who the developer is. Out of courtesy to them, you are using their work for redesign. You might as well say it's by Moon Studios. Horizon, same thing. Throw that in there. Also, you might as well keep the text up the entire clip. Or again, do the Svi Sherman thing where you just fade out halfway and just have it halfway for the remainder of the clip. Over prime, okay. And into the end. Unreal Shooter game. Yeah, this is where it gets a little more dicey for the stuff down below, is when you're actually like telling information about what you did. It's worth having this a bit higher up so we can like pause the video and easily see that information without having to like dodge the UI and stuff, Okay, in the end, you do have an ending card though. But it was pretty unceremoniously dropped off. Just off. So yeah, be aware of that too. It's a little this ending, this space at the end is not dead air. It is an opportunity to show what the end of the story sounds like to you. This is a blank canvas. Perhaps we hear the footsteps of the Unreal Shooter hero in the background, or some more explosions, or some more ambience fading out, or perhaps you design the ending splash as its own standalone thing. There's a lot of options for it, right? But this is, I would argue, leaning into negative territory when you have just a drop off like this. It drops off. It's like, that's not the smoothest transition. And the thing is, when you have something like that in your reel, that change, or if there's like, if you hear, we'll hear occasionally clips that for sure weren't faded, and we hear like a between the two clips. I may have even heard one in this one, I think. It was maybe before Overprime or Mass Effect. Was it here? Right there, yeah, I recall hearing this one. You hear that pop? Audience at home, you hear it? Yep. It's in the more left channel. There was a fade that should be added right here. Right? And that kind of thing, just, it's a detail that's missing. And it's not to say that you are not a details-oriented person, but this is not demonstrating that you are a details-oriented person. And when you're up against other candidates who have more details considered, then they just have that extra plus, and now they're the better candidate, right? So again, we're just back to pluses. It's not about whether you are good enough; it's whether you are showing that you have all these qualities that other candidates may also have, or may have in addition to your own. Joey's saying, what I assume from this reel is I'd love to give you some assets to design, but would be very wary of letting you design a trailer. Yeah, I feel the same way. Absolutely. The storytelling across the whole thing doesn't give me a great sense of like flow and such. And it's way more like these standalone ideas. It's not unlike your bio, honestly. It feels a bit bullet pointy, you know? You have the bios like, this is a point, and this is a point, also this, and this too, and this one. It's not like, here's this full-flowing written piece that's all about me. The trailer is the same thing. It's like, here's a clip, and here's a clip, and here's a clip, and here's a clip. And there's not a lot of attention given to what these clips look like as one cohesive story, which should be serving as a teaser trailer for what it means to work with you. So this is, you've certainly got room to, sidechain back on, you got room for sure to start thinking about like, how do you transition from clip to clip? Do you crossfade both visuals and audio potentially? If you aren't, then still thinking about doing things like Harleen did with like the J-cut, where you hear the audio of the next clip before you see it, can do wonders to introduce your ear to a new place before you see it, just to help you to help guide the listener along with, or guide the viewer / listener along with your work, right? That there, this is an interesting moment, because this is kind of a good transition, kind of. Like we have this, but it feels like it's a bit disconnected. It's almost there, isn't it? I don't know. It's like we have this this drop in, and the impact happens, and the tree bursts, right? So it's kind of like an impact incoming into the impact of Ori, kind of, but it just feels like it's late. Like we have this frame by frame, and we have, so we drop in. So here is the blast, because the visuals change so significantly, right? And then we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 frames pass. By the way, frames, frame by frame on YouTube is comma and period. 4 frames pass. Boom. If it's there instead, fade, slight fade, have the impact, both in the audio and in the visual, right? Because the thing is, if we listen to it, eyes closed, there's even a break in the audio. It's like, right? There's this kind of moment, this pregnant pause before the impact happens. So I think this could be effective as a transition, just with a little bit more massaging into place. Yeah. My dog has seen a squirrel. It sounds like barking in the background. And then here, there just isn't a transition, right? We fade to black, and then it fades to black, and then back in on horizon. Okay, yeah. So then, sure. And again, just fade to black, pop back in. There's that lack of fade, gotta fix that. Okay, and then this is a long clip compared to the rest so far. And then this is like the last 15 seconds. Sounds decent though. As far as Unreal shooters go, sounds pretty good. And then this is very like, this is, I need to say it, this is a brutal ending. Because it feels like the rug just pulled out, you know? We already are kind of coming down a bit, because you have this great cinematic piece, it's like very action-packed, and it's pulling us all over the place, where you're holding our attention. And then we have this ending piece, which is, it's valuable having the Unreal Shooter game in here with the implementation Wise UE4. It's certainly valuable having this, but it's not an action-packed piece, you know? So to finish with this, realize that we're already kind of coming down for a landing a little bit. So it's already it's already not like this action-packed piece or action-packed finish, and then it's like, and we're just done. It just cuts off. So this is to have this moment as the last thing people remember about you for the real is real dangerous. Very, very dangerous. This needs to be addressed, in my opinion. All right. Okay, let's talk about material selection though. So you have, I even said Ori after this, right? This is a crazy game to design after this one, right? Action-packed, FPS into Ori in the Blind Forest. I did not see that coming at all. Also, it's reversed. I see press E to absorb the light. Why is the clip flipped? That's kind of strange. And we're back in AAA now. Horizon's very AAA. Mass Effect 2 as well. Or Prime. These are all pretty like big studio things, yeah? So this looks like you want to get a gig at a AAA space. You're currently already working at Keywords and doing freelance things. So, oh, I see, YouTube. I understand. It's probably okay for game stuff, but I understand your motivation. I think one thing I'm not super clear on is, mainly because Ori is here, is what kind of job you're looking to land. Maybe you can just share that in the chat, actually. Like, what are you looking to do? Do you want to have a job at a AAA studio doing sound design? Because that's the implication here. Ori's at a place, but the rest of them are all certainly saying that. So that's my assumption right now, is you want some AAA gig. Oh, from this month, your junior sound design at Milestone. I don't know if I know that Milestone. Milestone in Italy did Hot Wheels Unleashed and MotoGP 22 and Monster Energy Supercross 5. Lots of driving things, apparently. It's like all driving things. Many vehicle sound stuff. Cool. Despite no vehicle content in your reel. Interesting. Okay. Well, good job. Congrats. Well done. Okay, so let's talk about, I guess, content a bit more. There's some great sound in here for sure. Let's have a look. I keep going to like where the splash starts, but it's right from the beginning. Yeah, I don't have many complaints about this first bit. Sounds cool. The Foley is really broadband, which is not common. This climb is really bassy. You know? But it's cool. It makes you feel pretty powerful, you know? Yeah, it's cool. In terms of like in terms of Foley content, it's like really bassy and really big. The reload, like the ka-chunk of the magazine going in, right? Or the clip rather. It's like that. It's like it's so wide and so bassy. It's interesting. It's all very big. I mean, I don't really know Bright Memory Infinite very well at all. But if your goal is to make this character feel like they're like a walking, powerful tank the entire game, then, you know, well done, good job. Just a matter of, it's interesting hearing, like, for example, like Destiny 2 reloads. They're so small and so under-designed. They're not detailed. It's like they just want to get out of the way, which I found surprising. But I guess that's the approach, right? But yeah, in terms of like doing your own thing, it's cool. No complaints. Ori. This is from Wabi Sabi Sound. Andy Lackey and Eric Lorenz and friends doing the sound for this game. One sec. Yeah, cool. There's one thing that I heard the first time watching through this that is real nitpicky, but maybe worth bringing up. I think that I'm a big fan of being very aware of your frequency content, especially when you're going from somewhere to somewhere else in terms of telling a story from some sound design, you know, perspective. If you have, for example, this like build up and burst, you've done a great job of like this ping, this kind of high chimey element at the end, right? Yeah, it's cool. The ping is nice. The more kind of like low mid noisy stuff. It's kind of the same. It's like just is there still. And if I were designing this, I might try to go into that blast and like pull that low mid, low mids stuff, pull it down and maybe push more to the bass. So you have this movement from like into both highs and lows, and you'll just have a more effective impact as a result, right? Because there just is more change in terms of frequency. Like if I go here for a second, give me a hot sec. If I, can I do this? Yes, I think I can. So if I play this right here. Yeah. So if I make this into a band pass, just humor me for a second here. We'll make this cue very high. There we go. And I'll try to loop a section on here. Like that's the area I'm talking about, right? So we have this build-up. You know, it's an equal presence in the build-up and in the impact. So if we have, a little more. If I can just do this here. Give me a second. So solo that, and. Great. So we now have, and nothing's here. I'm going to break any NDA. Good. My timeline. Something hiding in the timeline. So we have this. Here's the clip starts here, and I'll throw it on this timeline perhaps. So we have this bit, right? So we have, I'll just do this. This is very easy to do. I'll just throw this on a second timeline and yeah, easy. So what we'll do is just throw a bell. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll just trust me. I'm throwing a bell on those mids that we were just listening to right now. And I'm just going to throw like a really quick and dirty high, like a low shelf boost in the bottom, just for the hell of it, you know? So we have like that instead. So I'm gonna be real strong. Like I'm pulling this on like 12 dB kind of thing on that 500-ish hertz area. And I think you might hear what I'm talking about once we do this. I'll put this down like quite a bit. So here's the same thing, the build into the blast, but now all we've done just boosted the bass and pulled the 500 down, okay? So here's the build. You hear it? So is more change. We drop down to the bass and like climb up to the highs. So you have this change in both cases, not just an addition of highs. It's like an overall fundamental change in like where the foundation of this thing is lying. So hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully you heard the difference. I'll play it one more time. You know, I would argue that is objectively stronger in terms of that that transition. So, okay, so we have like I don't have a lot of complaints with your design in like the Mass Effect bit. The Horizon, I think you have more sub bass in here. I still have the EQ on. Sorry, I could use more bass. It's like a radio. I think more sub bass and more metal would help in there. It's a lot of like kind of generic, like general rustling, general dirt, debris, general stuff. You know, eyes closed. It's not screaming metal. This is a massive hulking metal beast. You know, it's I think he has some more like groans, some metal groaning, etc. More robotic yell. Yeah, I think on the whole, I'm not super sold that this creature looks like this. If you were to play this sound with no visual for a group of people and being like, what kind of creature do you think this is? Ideally, they would think, oh, it's like a massive robot monster beast thing, right? That's the ideal. Water spilling off too. Yeah, totally, Ben. Absolutely. We kind of lose the water. The highs, those kind of delicate, like higher up frequencies to hear a little splashing here and there, pull it back in the mix even. It's not the most important thing, but it's certainly a big part of the storyline. You can get out of the water and water's all pouring off. Absolutely. Okay, and next clip is very short apparently. So short. This is almost, I didn't realize how short this was. It's like 3 seconds long. 4 seconds. It's hard to comment on it. It goes by so fast. So again, this feels like it's suffering a little bit from what the Horizon clip suffered from. And it's a lot of like general overall design, some big loud, big movement thing. And one risk one risk we all face really in our sound design is you put a wide-reaching, generalized, broad sound on an event. You're like, cool, the event is covered. You know, it stands to reason. It makes sense. So you have this thing is happening from time A until time B, and you got a big sound that covers the full frequency spectrum, and you're like, sweet, this thing has sound now. You know, but what's happening here? This happened here. We have a big sound, but there's totally room for more detail in what's actually happening in the storyline, right? From moment to moment. And then here, same thing. It's a lot of like big sound design. Like here. And like from here until that clip, like the next 5 seconds or so, there's a lot of stuff happening throughout, and it's having this effect where we're losing the kind of more delicate details of the movement of, yeah. Even though it's still happening throughout. You probably have room to maybe choose what's at the front of the mix a little more actively, a little more frequently. Because I think these big impacts, it's very easy to like let them ring out over the course of things happening after them. And then the things happening after can be kind of lost, or the importance maybe isn't as acknowledged as it could be. And drop off the volume sooner with like keep the tail long, just quieter, right? And then have more space for things like the neck crack, things for, things for Foley, things for whatever, right? Yeah, just more space. So I think right here, all the stuff is there. It's just that this background, like tail, is calling so much attention to itself, you know? Yeah. I think just a little more dynamic attention, like pull this thing up, pull this thing down, or just pull this thing down, leave this thing out front might be the move. But design-wise, cool. Like it's all very like nice sounding, it sounds good. It's a matter of what you're pulling to the front and leaving at the background. Just to keep us, to give the listener a little more of a fighting chance to be able to focus on what's important from moment to moment. That's the idea here, right? Okay, so last bit, we kind of talked about this already. And then the vehicle thing is here to be hired at Milestone. Let's have a look.
In questo video spiegherò come ho realizzato il motore di un'auto con W-Wise.
In Italian.
Per realizzare l'engine ho utilizzato un blend container suddiviso al suo interno in diverse track. La suddivisione è stata fatta innanzitutto considerando il punto da cui è stato ripreso il suono del motore, quindi sia dal motore stesso, dalla marmitta o dall'abitacolo dell'auto. Questo ci permetterà dopo di mixare il bilanciamento di questi elementi, a seconda della posizione della camera, grazie a uno stato. La seconda suddivisione che è stata fatta, invece, è in base al carico del motore ed è gestita con un RTPC che va da...
Well, it looks good.
equivale nel mondo reale ad avere l'auto...
I don't speak Italian, I'm sorry.
A valore vicino a 0, quindi suoneranno le tracce col motore senza carico.
Skipping ahead. Let's hear it.
Dopodiché ho...
Here it is. Cool. Yeah, I am so I'm not a big cars guy, so I would be the worst person to hire for a job like this. It'd be real bad. Would not be good. Longest guys ever watched on British instrument. This is not true. I've watched longer ones attached. Settle down, please. Settle down. Yeah, great. Super cool. I mean, it being an Italian for an Italian company is like just more targeted, right? So that's excellent, of course. Great stuff. I think we're probably going to call it there. We're already running late. I saw the time, but I was talking about freaking frequency changes. Oh, sounds so good. No insert. Kill the stuff off. There you go. Yeah, we'll call it there. Grazie. Edoardo, thank you. Thank you so much. Really strong work. Cool stuff. Just like transitional things, detail, attention, dynamics, frequency tension, etc., etc. On the whole, strong. I mean, you got hired. You got a job, right? So you don't need me to tell you this. And Harleen, thank you so much, Kevin, and everyone else, for such great feedback and nice words. I was very nervous coming in. And I am pleased to walk away with excellent feedback to improve my reel further. Thanks again, and see you at the next stream. Yeah, cheers, of course. Really strong work from both of you. I love getting reels like this on stream because yeah, we're all able to talk about some more specific things like that frequency focus change from build to impact. Like I love that way more than just talking about the broad strokes all the time. Of course, it's way more fun for everyone, right? More informative. And you're both very good at things I am terrible at. So there you go. I'm happy to give my opinions, but I mean, you guys would wipe the floor with me when it came to Wise Unreal and vehicle sound design, that's for sure. It'd be real ugly. It would be a butchering. It would not be good. Thanks both. Let's play some more shotgun bass. Oh no, this is a good track. Favorite track in the album. It's so good. So good. If anyone wants to submit their work for review on Real Talk, you can do so at powerupaudio.com on our website inquiry form, our contact form. Or you can DM myself at RegMK on Twitter, or just the studio at Power Up Audio. Just hit us with a link, and we will slot you in for a future date. I have some slotting to do, actually. A lot of people have hit us up to say, hey, me please, so I need to schedule people. But it's probably going to be like October or something at this point. It's a bit of a wait. So perhaps good to jump in now for scheduling, and then work on your stuff until then. An idea, perhaps? But until next time, in 2 weeks, I'll see you then. Thanks a lot.